Hi everybody. I am back. It's been a really long time. I think it was last time I did a video was maybe last fall. And I can't say like a lot has been going on, but I guess I haven't really felt as though there was anything major that needed to be shared with you all. So I've been relatively silent doing my own work and all of the things, meeting really important people who are now part of my journey. And I wanted to share some information that's really been coming in strong and like a floodgate has opened. So because I do think that what I want to share is important for everyone to hear. And I will start off by saying that if you're watching this video, or I'll probably include a short description so that if people don't want to waste time watching a video, they can read some of it. If you are guided to this message, then know that you are on what I will call the ascending timeline. I posted something the other day on my Facebook account, and it was just an image of what we'll call 3D Earth and then New Earth, which will be 5D, like fifth dimensional Earth. So without going into all of the heavy, laborious details of what exactly all of that means, if you're kind of new to this idea of humanity going through an awakening and their consciousness shifting, that's what's happening. And we are slowly moving into a fifth dimensional reality. The planet itself, along with the people on it. However, there is, and this is where it gets really weird, and I understand it, but I have a hard time putting it into words. Actually, I did copy this image, and I've seen this a lot of places before, but I just copied the one that I shared the other day just for ease of being able to refer to this. And I apologize because I am so bad with tech that I don't know how to like share an image on my screen that looks nice. So I just drew it out and I have it on a piece of paper. So I'm going to hold it up just for everyone to kind of refer back to. I have no idea if that's even going to be like facing the right way for you guys. Probably not. But we started down here in Earth, and as the awakening and ascension process is happening to the planet and to the inhabitants of the planet, we are slowly making this shift. However, in order to get to a 5D New Earth, we have to split away from the old 3D Earth as we knew it. So some people, unfortunately, will not be ready to move on to a fifth dimensional reality. They're maybe needing more soul lessons. Their soul just chose not to ascend at this time into a higher dimension. And that's okay. There's no judgment. It's each soul's decision how they wanted to come in and experience this. So this is what's happening, and this is kind of in terms of reality and, you know, what reality will feel like and on the planet as we ascend. So we started off down with old Earth, and then, you know, you start to see the split between people recognizing that reality is kind of like a matrix, and there's matrix programming. So, you know, everyone who isn't already aware, the movie was pretty real, The Matrix. So we've got this happening on the 3D timeline, and the awakening beginning for humanity at that level. So if you're just about there, kind of realizing that something's not about right, then this shift is happening. So then as we continue to further split apart, you've got on the 3D path, continued ignorance, people not really seeing truth, not knowing what's going on. And over here is knowledge. So you're starting to see from a higher perspective what's actually happening, what's being played out. And then as the split continues, 3D Earth continues on into lack, which is kind of the mentality that we came from, that there's only a finite amount of, resources and money and all of those things, and you're constantly going to be wanting, needing more in order to get by and all that stuff. And on the other side of that, moving into the 5th dimensional reality is abundance. So there's plenty. There's enough to go around. There's enough food. There's enough financial abundance. There's everything you could need. It's provided for you. The earth and everything is providing for you always. And then at the peak of the full split from the 3D into the 5D, over here we see continued suffering, war, again, things that have been playing out that will just continue. Nothing is really going to change for this 3D timeline from what we've been seeing for most of our lives and many, many lives that we've lived before on Earth. But in the 5D, we'll see peace, we'll see love, everything that I think a lot of people actually are really wanting to see and feel. The abundance, love, unconditional love is the main vibration of 5D. So in 5D, you are more connected with God, with source, with spirit, however you refer to it. There is just an absolute knowing, a feeling of unconditional love. We are all living in harmony, and this division just doesn't exist anymore. So that's a basic breakdown of the image that I had posted. Now, what I did mark on the image that I forgot to mark on my little paper here is that, and this is the important stuff that's been coming in recently, I have gotten information pertaining to my own personal journey, but as it also relates to the collective, that we are about here on our split. So collectively. So we have split off officially from this 3D timeline. So if you're watching this, collectively, we're in a really good place. And I do want to explain a little more about that, how I came into this information. So I will say, I think my understanding of what this process may look like as we're living it out started with a post from someone who's pretty well known in the spiritual community, called Amanda Lawrence. And I would highly recommend anybody who's interested go check her out. Some of her stuff really feels like it's over my head sometimes, but this one really stuck out. And a really close friend of mine and I spent days just like, it resonated for both of us so deeply, and we just spent days like dissecting it and trying to understand, what does this mean and what is she saying? And what we took away from it was that we are now shifting, this shift, the split is happening. It's been happening, but it's finally reached a point where we may start to see and feel those things on a much more tangible level, because we won't be coexisting side by side as much anymore. So people who will be moving rapidly up to the fifth dimensional reality, they have most likely completed what's called phase 1 of their soul's mission, which was, it's very individual, and it's whatever your soul came in to do during the first part of your lifetime here. And they will be given that knowledge that basically their mission is complete, and they will be then moving on to phase 2, which is their mission in 5D. Normally this doesn't happen. I mean, we're only being given multiple missions, and the knowledge that one has been completed and foresight into what the next one is, which is unusual to know in advance what our mission's going to be, because normally when we incarnate, we have no idea until we've left a physical vessel, and then we learn, okay, what was the mission of that lifetime? Did we complete the mission? So it's a very interesting, amazing time to be incarnated, and to have the foresight to be able to stay in a physical vessel and be ascending while in this physical vessel, and be moving into a reality where you're going to know in advance what you're supposed to be doing in the next level. Now, for the people who will not be making that transition, people who are staying on this third dimensional timeline, this is the part that really blew our minds. And it takes a bit of really being open-minded and sitting with it to maybe really understand what this means. But people who are continuing on the third dimensional timeline will continue on, and anybody who is shifting up and moving in, continuing on with the fifth dimensional timeline, the people on the third dimensional timeline will not know that the fifth dimensional people are gone. So it's an aspect of our consciousness. Use me as an example. An aspect of my consciousness will be continuing on in whatever the storyline is. Let's say I have a family member who is going to be staying on the third dimensional timeline. An aspect of my consciousness will continue on in the third dimension, so that story plays out exactly as it's meant to. And that person, my family member, won't know that anything has happened. So that's the part that's a little crazy. But here's the information that I was given in a very powerful, deep meditation. It was probably about a week and a half ago. I was shown that my work, I knew this in advance, but it's really been shown a lot more clearly to me, how I'm doing this. I work as a transmuter type of light worker. So I process energy. So I'm taking in not only my own energy from my own stories and traumas and things that need to be healed, but I am able to take on energy from the collective, and through my own life stories, usually, so that it doesn't feel like I'm aware that it's anyone else's. It feels still like it's mine because it's attached to a story. But through these stories, I am transmuting some of the heavy, dense trauma energy to help people, which everyone has their own skills. This just happens to be mine. And it was interesting because I'd always had a hunch that I was doing this, but it was made very clear to me recently. The second thing that I was told very distinctly is that I have been doing work with timelines. And so this kind of gets into the infinite timelines, multiverse, whatever you want to call it, infinite realities. I call them timelines. But I have been doing work closing 3D timelines that are not meant to continue on the 3D path, but are clearly not in alignment with the 5D ascending path. So for me, that happened through very specific instances in my life, but I was helping to do that with others. There are many people probably doing this, but it's helping to close those timelines for the collective as well. So I was shown that I was doing that and was told that the 3D timelines have now all been closed. So that's kind of what put me in this position to say, we are here, because the 3D timelines are closed. We are no longer attached to this 3D, we're no longer attached to this 3D timeline. They're closed, we are separate, and we are moving onward and upward. So what that means, though, is that now we're in this weird fourth dimensional place collectively, and I've been really trying to wrap my mind around exactly what that means, because it doesn't seem or feel like the fourth dimension is a place that you can physically anchor to, because the fourth dimension is just the lack of linear time. So the fourth dimension relates specifically to time. So I call it no time, which doesn't mean no time, but it just means you have access to anything happening at any point in time from this moment right now, because technically it's all happening now. There is no linear time. Of course, our stories will continue to play out as if there's linear time, but in the fourth dimension, you will feel things moving much more rapidly. I got the image the other day of like those, I think they're called people movers at an airport, where before we're like walking and we're like really trying to catch our flight at the other end of the airport. Now we're being put on that people mover. So we're still going to the same spot, but it's going much quicker. Synchronicities are going to be off the charts. Because that's your consciousness is tapping into the no time. Like you're tapping into things happening, when you think of somebody and then they call or text you, a minute later, that's because there's no time. The delay is gone. You're able to project your consciousness and pull that experience in. As a side note, for those who don't know, I practice QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnosis, and that's an experience not unlike a deep meditation, but again, those are things that when you go into that state, you can connect to other times and places. Well, the 4D is kind of like that. So you're going to have easier access to that information without having to try so hard. Let's see, I made notes just so I didn't forget anything. There will also be what it seems to be from my experience with people around me, a lot of timeline bleed through. And I'm not sure if that's from the 3D timelines having been closed, or if that's from the experience of no time. So while there are still multiple timelines in the fourth dimension, because there's no time, you're able to pull in those experiences without really realizing that, my memory of that isn't the same as somebody else's. And, one of us clearly was tapping into another timeline and has that memory is different. It's weird. I understand. This is crazy stuff. It's fascinating stuff. It's really exciting. Let's see. What it looks like for our own personal journey is that we have now shifted out of a place where victimhood is a reality. So in the third dimension, I'm sure you can recall, there's a lot of victimhood, a lot of people feeling like they're being attacked because of their gender, because of their sexual orientation, because of their race. You know, there's a lot of victimhood. People who have had very traumatic events will still feel like the victim. So the fourth dimension is a shift away from victimhood into accountability. And that's not to say that people who have experienced any type of trauma are to blame. They could have very well have been the victim of abuse, but this is a time when we stop looking at someone else and pointing fingers and just say, this horrible thing has happened to me and I don't want it to dictate the rest of my life. So I'm going to start to take some accountability and process these feelings that I'm holding inside. And for a lot of people, that is a very new thing. The third dimension offered a lot of hiding spots, ways to avoid having to deal with those heavy thoughts and emotions and memories. Drugs, alcohol, addictions, you know, any type of distraction. And unfortunately, we're moving into a place where it's time. It's time to really look at those things that have happened that you're still carrying and honestly might be unaware that you're even carrying. You may think that it's just an issue that you're having with your coworker, but really it could stem back to something that you experienced as a child. And those aha moments are going to start to happen. You're going to be shown what it truly is that needs to be released, that you're still carrying. Because when we move up into the fifth dimension, those things aren't there. They can't come with you. You don't want them with you. You want to feel unconditional love for everything and everybody and yourself. And you want to feel peace. And those things can't come if you're still burdened by things that you're carrying from, childhood or, any point in your life, past life, anything. So it may be a trying time for a lot of people, but the good news is with the fourth dimension, time moving so quickly, and with people still doing transmuting work to help, a lot of the processing and releasing of those memories and emotions and trauma from your body will go so much faster than it did in the third dimension. I'm so excited about this. I'm just, I couldn't be more thrilled. So it really is an exciting time. And let's see, the only other thing I did want to add that kind of ties into this is that really good friend of mine that I've kind of been on this journey with, learning all of this stuff and really fleshing it out. She said to me the other day that she got the message in meditation that we're moving into a place where we are going to start being able to learn lessons from positive experiences. So where in the third dimension, a lot of times if you weren't proactively trying to heal yourself and do the work, the universe would send things your way that would really force you to have to look at it, and they usually were not pleasant experiences. They might have looked at like really bad car accidents, losing jobs, losing family members, any kind of trauma that would really force you to take a look at things, and learn some lessons, even if it's still karmic lessons from another lifetime. But we are moving into a place where lessons can be learned now from positive experiences. So you might shift into a new position at work and it wasn't something you're expecting, but you're actually able to learn lessons from that your soul needed. Whereas before, maybe it was you got fired from your job. So it is a really exciting time. I think collectively, we are going to start to see a lot of moving and shifting. Everything that's been hidden can no longer be hidden anymore, just like as within, so without. Any trauma buried in you is not going to be able to stay hidden anymore. Same with the collective. Everything that's been happening that has been previously kept on the down low, secret, hidden, nefarious things. Unfortunately, fortunately for us, unfortunately for them, they cannot be hidden anymore. So I believe we're going to really start seeing a lot of disclosure, a lot of dismantling of old systems, financial system, the entertainment industry, hopefully our mainstream media. Yeah. So it really is a very exciting time, and I'm so blessed and happy to be here sharing this with all of you. And if anybody feels like they need any support during this time, whether it's a hypnosis session, whether you just need a friend to talk to because some new emotions are surfacing that you've never really paid attention to before or wanted to feel, I can certainly help with that. I am very good at transmuting energy, and I have lots of experience and lots of ideas to help people just move any energy and emotion that's in your body that just needs to come out. So I'm here. I love you all, and if anybody has any fun, interesting things happening, I would love to hear your stories. All right, I will talk to you soon. Love you all.